This is Coogan. Oh, it's you, Ed.
How are you? Oh, you missed me. Oh,
Don't.
don't get to interviewing you. Oh, a lot of people are saying we don't talk
Yeah,
anymore.
people are. It's the 11th
Listen,
of February.
yeah, but you've got your little merry men, haven't you, that follow me around the world.
What's
So
that?
you, every now and again, you go, no, I should do a bit with Eddie, and then it's like I just have to dance to your tune. What? Were you around here? I was like, I just did literally 9 interviews with Colm last week. Now I've got to sit down with you. Apologies if it's a bit dark, by the way. You said that it's a bit, the
Yeah.
lighting's not very good in, yeah.
I just want people to see your like fresh face, really, but it's
Do
all
you know
right.
what? I mean, well, I have to say, it's a very random trip. I'm in Istanbul for a couple of days because we're about to launch our first show in Turkey, in
Right.
Istanbul, in the summer. And I'm here to meet Elif Turhan,
Yeah.
and the government and the commission and everyone. So yeah, it's a little bit. It's an interesting little spot I have here in my hotel. So here for a few days before we get ready for the small matter of Leewood against Josh Warrington at a sold-out Nottingham arena, and then on to Nunes Navarrete and everything else that follows. So tremendous to see you, Coogan. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm all right. I know. Do you know what? I did send you a couple of psychic messages the other day,
Oh, I know.
and I was like, to be
I've
honest,
done you
right,
like a kipper because I went, just so people don't know, like, so I'll just say yes to everybody, as you know. And obviously, Matty Lawless, our head of media, and they want to, and rightfully so, for a man of my caliber, they want to plan out a schedule, right? And you think you are above the schedule, right?
no,
You think you are
absolutely not.
above
What load
Matty
of bollocks.
Lawless, you are above Caitlin Bennett, you are above all these, but you go straight to the goat, right? So they send me through, and it was so funny because you were asking for an interview, and Matty said, "Could you do some Zooms this week?" Right? I said, "Yeah, no problem." So he sends me through 3 or 4 Zooms, right, for a Thursday. One of them was Charlie Parsons. One of them was Louis Hart from The Ring, but there was no Coogan Cassius on there. And I thought, right, okay, I thought I must speak to Matty because Coogan wants to do a piece with me, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I do the Zooms, and of course they go out. But what happens? Old big Coogie Bear throws his toys out the pram. Are you? I think the message was saying like this. Are you actually for real? Are you actually taking the piss out of me? Are you? Are you? What? No. WTF? WTF? What? Like I was like, oh my god. So I replied, brilliant. Speak to Matty to schedule an interview. What? But Ed, are you Ed? What? And then you start going, mate. People on Twitter are even saying, we haven't done a shit. That's the first thing. Why are you even listening to people on Twitter? Two, some random geezer popped up and went, Eddie Hearn hasn't done an interview with Coogan Cassius for a few weeks. Fucking hell, stop the world. Do you know what I mean? So
Oh,
there is an order here to be followed.
all right. Okay. There's a slight element in what you said. I think you dramatized it a little bit
Well,
much.
that's my job. Yeah.
Okay. But I think the main point is that it's like I've still, if I start not bothering about this kind of shit, then do you know what I mean? Where am I in life? Like, if I don't want to pester you, where am I in life? Do you know what I mean? So, right, a few things. Obviously, it's been a little while now, but missed you over in not Newcastle
Yes.
for
How was that?
absolutely sensational,
Unbelievable, isn't it?
unbelievable. And we saw your watch along or your clips from your watch along, but
Mm.
since then they've put in an appeal. What's happened with that?
Yeah, I think that sometimes it's something that you've got to do because Mertzalayev came over to the UK, no rematch clause because it was a mandatory. And obviously, it's hard enough for him to get an opportunity without the world title. So, with the world title, now he doesn't have one. You've got to try and kind of jockey your position. So, obviously, I mean, in my opinion, there was nothing controversial about the fight at all. However, what they'll be trying to do is getting him the highest ranking possible, get him back into a mandatory position, and that's kind of like what you'd do. You'd appeal, knowing you're not going to get the rematch. But the IBF might say, "I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll put you as the highest ranked contender," which we understand as well. So Josh Kelly won the fight fair and square. I don't think there was any controversy at all about the scoring of the fight. It was a sensational performance. I saw Josh and Adam at the weekend in Monaco, and they were like, I said, I have to be honest. I actually can't believe I said it to him. Must be getting old. I said, I didn't think you'd win. Josh was like, what? I said, I thought you could win. And I had a sneaky feeling that Adam really fancied it because he called the fight on with the person no one wanted to fight. I said, but in my heart of hearts, I thought you would be dominating the fight and he would probably get to you. He was like, oh. I said, but wow, wow, wow. You've always had the ability. And now I know you've got the heart and you've got the mindset. And that makes you a very, very dangerous world champion. And what a time. Like when you start looking at Dalton and Josh Kelly, it's just, we've got to get more of our guys. Galal Yafai coming up as well with a world championship shot in a couple of months. We've got some brilliant momentum with our team, and that puts him in line for some massive, massive fights.
Yeah, I mean, I did speak to Adam and Josh a few days after. They want that Xander's fight.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a few fights. Obviously, they also like the Conor Ben fight. The
Yeah.
whole world likes the Conor Ben fight because obviously it brings a huge amount of noise and he's a huge draw. That would be a big fight, but I think, obviously Conor wants to campaign at 147 pounds. I think the fight, not just for Josh, but for boxing as well, because it's two young, I mean, I know Josh is 31, but unmarked, sort of really has never had to go through the well. The toughest fight he had was against Avanesian. And other than that, he hasn't really had much of a tough fight. Ish was tough later on, but Xander Zayas against Josh Kelly, two good young world champions, two great-looking kids, two great-looking ambassadors, two great fighters, and it's a unification fight. So we're in talks with Sunderland at the moment to do something crazy in the summer. And, I said to Josh, you can do it at Madison Square Garden for Puerto Rican weekend, or you can do it in the Stadium of Light. Both options, incredible. And by the way, let's do a two-fight deal where the winner fights the winner of Boots Ortiz and give everybody the two biggest fights at £154 this year. And, Josh has got 3 fights left with us. So, we want to put a plan together that's going to make him a lot of money and get him the big fights. And Sunderland is something that him and Adam really want to do.
Mm. It was a great night, and it's funny what's kind of happened with Josh, isn't it? He's had to do things the hard way, and really since the Avanesian, everyone's kind of judged him from the Avanesian fight up until
Yeah, but I think when I look back at the Avanesian fight, I mean, it wasn't that he wasn't ready. I think mentally and emotionally he wasn't ready for that kind of fight. I don't think he had the confidence. I think at 147 as well, he was unbelievably drained and kind of we were saying to Adam, used to rehydrate and get massive. But it wasn't just because he was big, he wasn't strong. And I think Adam still feels to this day that was the right fight for him. But it was a big risk at the time. Remember, it was in the bubble. And Josh had not had many fights, but Josh is an outstanding talent. He's always had the talent. But now he's got the maturity, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. He's there. He believes it. And now that he has that confidence of beating Mertzalayev, he's going to be a really, really dangerous fighter and a tough fighter to beat.
No, it's brilliant. It was a brilliant night. Yeah, I mean, in the last week or so, we saw, I think this time last week, Chisora Wilder getting announced. You a fan of this?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I think it's a fight the casuals can embrace, isn't it? I mean, look, Del Boy and Deontay both at the back end of their careers. Although Del Boy keeps winning and keeps finding a way, Wilder's looked poor, but seems to have a little bit of that crazy spark back. I don't know, like sometimes I don't know, was it that his personal life or whatever it was wasn't really flowing, and therefore his boxing wasn't even, or is he at the end of his career, or was he never really that good anyway? I think it might be a little bit of mixture of everything. I think Del Boy's a big favourite in the fight. I mean, he likes to get buttoned by the right hand, Del Boy, but I don't think Wilder's got the timing anymore. And I think Del Boy's going to walk him down, wear him out, and I think he'll stop him. But yeah, I like the fight. I think it's a fun fight.
What did you make of all the stuff with Wilder and Simon Jordan?
It was great TV. I was actually watching Simon Jordan last night. Not that I haven't got better things to do, but I think he's brilliant at his job. And I was actually, sounds a little bit no diddy, but I was laying in bed, just sort of on Instagram as you do and scrolling through, and I was watching him with the female pundit on Talksport. I can't remember the lady's name, and he was just absolute. I mean, he's
Oh,
just
yeah.
yeah, he was just absolutely brutal, and you got to give it to him. Like I mean, don't get me wrong, he definitely needed a new pair of underpants after the Wilder incident, but he'll he'll go all the way with it, won't he? He won't back down on it. And Wilder's very, what's the word? I mean, obviously emotional, but just massively up and down. I mean, some of the stuff he was coming out with, I mean, when he's up, he's screaming and shouting. That's not the sign of. I don't think that was even just promo or hype. And by the way, when you know, because you've spent more time with him than me, but when you're around Wilder, actually in a right environment, it's actually a really nice guy. Like and
Absolutely.
then I don't know, I just feel like he's got this just, I don't know what it is,
What?
chip on his shot. I don't know, like just he just explodes at the strangest things sometimes, and he properly lost his shit there.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I'm not going to say it was strange, but I suppose Simon asked him the question about Fury. Didn't want to answer that question. Then it
Yeah,
turned.
but I feel like Simon's right in a way. If you want to make those kind of accusations against Tyson Fury, you got to come with something. You can't just say, yeah, he did. Yeah. I mean, what's he saying? He loaded up his glove and put something in his drink, and I mean, these are like wild. So I mean, you got to really come with something better than yes, because the whole world saw it, but they can't see the same thing that you saw. So tell us. And probably the reaction is that he can't. Someone told him that something happened or someone did something that actually wasn't even true.
Mm.
So, but again, who knows? But if you're going to come out with those accusations, you got to back it up with something rather than saying, "Yeah, you'll see it in my documentary one day."
What do you think about the fight landing on the Zone instead of Sky Sports? Because it was always rumored that that fight with MF Pro and
Yeah, listen, massive for the
out
zone because the zone, Sky Sports, as I understand it, were in the running for that fight, but the promotional company chose to go with the zone, which is just a sign of the times, honestly. Like the zone are doing so well at the moment, so well as a platform, and I'm so proud of them because you know the story. We were laughed out of town when we launched. Oh, an app or Eddie Hearn streaming his fights. Well, what is he doing? And now, literally, every promoter in the world is either on the zone or desperately trying to get on the zone. It's the place to be. So the great thing for promoters as well is the numbers are great. The pay-per-view now is a consistent model that's driving big numbers globally. So therefore, in the past, you'd be like, and that's a good example of that, right? They had a choice where to stage that pay-per-view event. Sky Sports, other platforms, and they chose to do it on the zone. They didn't not have an option. They chose the zone as a platform. And that's because it's working. So yeah, another great fight. The schedule's unbelievable, and we've got some massive fights coming up. We're going to be staging a huge event next week with massive news dropping about our business, about fights coming up, about worldwide boxing. Um, We're going to also be introducing a new Matchroom boxing belt. And next week, Lee Wood against Josh Warrington will fight for the first time for the super featherweight Matchroom boxing championship of the world.
What?
No, I'm joking.
I,
About that
you know
bit.
what?
Yeah.
Slightly, because you've got that much of a big ego about Matchroom.
No, do you know
It
what?
would not have
But that's where
surprised
you're
me.
wrong. That's where you're wrong, because that is the cringiest shit I've ever seen. You know I would never do that, but I was just laughing because I was reading about next or whenever it is Jai Opetaia fighting Brandon Glanton for the Zuffa Championship of the World, and I was thinking, do you know what? I could just do that. That'd be quite amusing. Why don't we do an IFL one as well?
Well, I'd love to have one day. I'd
So,
love to have an IFL belt.
well,
Yeah.
well, look at that undercard. Look at that show next week. Sold out 8,000 in Nottingham, right? Wood Warrington. Don't need any belts for that. What it is two British sort of generational world champion greats fighting for their career in a grudge match. That's that. But why don't we do like trying to think. Oh, we've also got a WBC World Championship fight on that card. Sandy Ryan against Zamora. You've got Dave Allen on that card. But why don't we do Ishmael Davis against Bilal Fawaz, which is the British Commonwealth Championship? But we should also do it for the IFL Championship of the World,
I'm well
the
up.
inaugural. Yeah.
I'm up
Get
for
a belt. Get a belt made up for next week, and that can be the first ever IFL World Champion. Anyone can do it.
it. Okay, well, I'm going to look into this. But if I design the belt, will you pay for it?
No,
Why?
but we could present it after.
Okay. Oh, no, all jokes aside, I want the IFL belt to one day.
No, not just the IFL belt, the IFL World Championship, because anyone can do it.
You're an idiot. Because do you know what, though? It's the sort of thing I would not put in
No,
my.
you know I wouldn't. Do you think I would disrespect boxing that much? Where I would say we are going to bring out the Matchroom Boxing World Championship. You'd have to be. You'd have to. I mean, my ego's out of control, right? That would have to be. That's beyond anything I could ever fathom
All right, let
or
me
ever
ask you a
bring
question.
myself to.
Say you did,
Yeah,
yeah? Do you think, right, certain people, say British and below, do you think that they would want to fight for that belt? I think they
they
would.
would. They would. But we don't deserve. We don't listen. And you know me. I'm telling you, we don't deserve to have a world championship. The history and legacy of the sport governs that. And like, listen, I get what Zuffa are doing because maybe in 5 or 10 years' time, maybe the Zuffa World Championship is actually something that the younger generations want to win. But it just ain't for me, mate. It's just not. It's not. It's not boxing. So I think it's. I don't. I don't want to just create my own belt and go into like amateur gyms and go, oh mate, yeah, you know what you want to win when you grow up, mate, don't you? The Matchroom Boxing World Championship. Oh, do I? Do I, Eddie? Yeah. Oh, what's that? Oh, it's my new World Championship belt. This is going to be the biggest thing in boxing. If you're going to be a real champ, you got to win the MBWC. That's the Matchroom Boxing World Championship. Oh, wow. No, you haven't. You've got to win the WBC. You got to win the WBA. You know the belt that Muhammad Ali won? Do you know the belt that Sugar Ray Leonard won? The belt that Mike Tyson won? Roberto Duran? Larry Holmes? Pernell Whitaker? Shakur Stevenson? Floyd Mayweather? You know what I mean?
I still think you'd fucking do one, I swear to God.
I might do it. I might do it next week. I might actually announce it at the presser.
Oh, yeah, okay. Um, do you know what, though? What you would do, you know, like,
Why is this just a character assassination? What
no,
would
it's
I
not.
do?
No, but I'll
What are
tell
you
you what
saying?
you do, yeah? You know what the Puskas Award is, yeah, in football?
No.
Right, so basically that's like to the best goal, yeah?
Right.
Like goal of the season is called like the
Yeah.
the Puskas Award. I think that you would do something like, like some sort of event like the Eddie Hearn Memorial Award or something where like someone wins something in your name, not Matchroom, but in your name.
What do you think I am?
No, I'm just saying. I just think that'd be quite
I mean,
funny.
we have
Like,
a Matchroom boxing end of year awards, which I think is fine.
yeah, but that's
You
between
know,
your own company. I'm just saying, like the Eddie Hearn, like people will know this reference to football, like, but like the Eddie Hearn Award for services to
I
boxing,
don't like where you're going with this, to be honest with you. I'm a very humble individual these days.
clearly. Um, you throw me. It's good to see Joshua out and about now. Yeah,
Yeah, I think he's been training obviously around the world, but particularly in Dubai as well, at these incredible facilities. And a lot of the UFC guys train there, or sorry, not UFC, Khabib and the PFL guys.
yeah,
And he's been kind of training with them and hanging around with them. And I think he quite likes that environment and especially their work ethic. So he went to the PFL event in Dubai to watch. And I actually FaceTimed him after. We had a long chat with Tom and some of the team about what we're doing. And I think it just gave him a little bit of a buzz, you know, just to be out and about. I think when something tragic like that happens, firstly, you don't want to go out, and secondly, you don't feel like you should go out. And obviously now it's been obviously what 6 weeks, 7 weeks, and I think he's just sort of back. He's been training for over a month now, but training to recover and training to keep himself mentally right, which is something he's always done. So yeah, he's okay. He's okay. I think. Do you have Snapchat?
no, not really.
Yeah. So that's obviously that Josh's Snapchat's kind of like his personal social that's not sort of corporately driven, if you like. And if you're on there and you follow him, like his tributes to Cena and Lat are all day, every day of memories, And I think that it's not something like this. I think there's different ways that people can deal with it and handle it. And I think his way is to really shine a light on those guys and their memory. Some people would just say, well, I need to move on and I need to, try and get over that and not forget them, but just,
Mm.
he's the other way. He wants to remember them in their greatest light and environment. And they did, he said to me the other day something like, I think we were talking about the journey and like all the experiences that he's had and all this stuff that he's posting with these guys, the journey that they went on and the trips and the fun and stuff like the jets and like two guys from or three guys from an estate and just they were kids together with nothing and they come up and they got everything and they just and they did it all with a smile and with tremendous energy. And yeah, he's I think it will be I think he'll return to training camp. And then I think, you know, everything will come to light there in terms of what's next or what might not be next.
Is this a case of really like he'll come to you if he needs to come to you, or there's a conversation
Yeah, I've been
that
very
you know?
the last thing I'm being inundated with questions right now from different people. I'm not even talking about you in the media. I'm talking about people who want to stage AJ fights and people that we had plans with previously, because now that they've given him that time, they want to know and they want to plan what's happening in 2026. And it would never be me going to him and saying, mate, you need to give us some answers now. He will tell me the answers. And but we talk, and over time, I know him pretty well, and I know obviously we've never been in a situation like this before, but I know when he's ready, and I know when the time is to have those types of conversations. And the only conversations recently are more geared towards a training camp rather than necessarily who or when there might be a return. We had, it's no secret, before everything happened, we had a plan to fight in March and then fight Tyson Fury in August. And that's not going to happen now. So we have to look at if he wants to fight again, when he wants to fight again. But the main thing I think for him is the focus to get back physically ready to go into training camp. And I don't know. I mean, that could be a month, it could be 2 months, but I do believe he will return to training camp. And then from there, it's a physical and emotional and spiritual journey of, what do I want to do? But he's a competitor. He loves the sport, and I think that he knows he's still got a lot to give, and a lot of that will be in those, in Cena and Lats's name, and to shine for those guys as well.
Yeah. I get what you mean about training. That's not for anything specific to do with boxing. That's to kind of get his head
Yeah,
right.
because that's all he knows. That's all he knows. And I know that it's just life, isn't it? Like if you were going through a tough time, you'd crack on with work, wouldn't you? Because it's all you know. You'd say, well, I need to do more. You'd make yourself busier. You do this. Same with me. All I know is what I do. I don't have any. I don't. I might play around the golf every 6 months. I don't. So when things get a little bit tough, or when you're going through bad times, all you know is to do what you do, and do it more, and do it better, and do it harder, and that's Josh with training. So the training at the moment is all about physical and mental recovery, and that's it. Nothing boxing related, but that will come, and it may not be too long till that happens.
Mm. Okay. Usyk's next fight is being rumoured.
Why have you always called him Usyk?
Alexander Usyk.
Well, that's right, but you never say that.
Usyk.
You never say that. You say Usyk. You just said it, but like literally 20 seconds ago. Usyk, Usyk, yeah. I mean, what world do we live in where probably, and I've seen your new stuff, which is you call me vain, right? You've now started your own thing where you're being interviewed, right? And you're talking about IFL's 15 years, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about one of the most prominent, dare I say, respected, whatever you want to call yourself, reporter, journalist, blah, blah, blah. And the pound for pound number one, you can't even say his name.
I just
Ed, right, what world do we live in a world where you are that one of the most prominent guys within the media, and this is where we go, Ed, yeah, you know that Usyk geezer, yeah, what's next for him? This boxing's mad.
I didn't actually say that at all. We live in a world where you're going to create a Matchroom world title belt next week. That's the world we're living in.
Well, no, we don't. We don't, because if I wanted to do it, I would have done it years ago. But anyway, Alexander Usyk, otherwise known as Usyk.
Yeah.
What do you want to know about him?
He being rumoured with a fight with Rico Van Heerden.
Yeah.
Who was rumoured for a fight with Anthony Joshua previously.
Correct.
What do you think about that with Usyk?
I think that His Excellency, is aware of fights that will generate interest across different genres, and obviously Rico van Veerhoven is one of the biggest stars in kickboxing. I think he's had one professional fight. He's quite a dangerous guy, to be honest with you. He was a guy that was put forward by Saudi Arabia to fight AJ on a list of others. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be I guess it could be a dangerous fight for Usyk, but I don't think it will be an overly challenging fight. But I think with Usyk, he's like, I think he just wants big fights and big names and he wanted to fight Deontay Wilder, and I said to him, why did you want to fight Wilder? He said, because I fought Tyson Fury, I fought Anthony Joshua, and Wilder was one of those guys from that generation that I think would look great on the CV in my list of heavyweights. So I don't know if he's going to fight Van. Rumours of May, but yeah, Usyk will definitely return soon.
You just called him that yourself. You just done it.
Because I was bantering you, wasn't
I? Rumours again.
More rumours.
Wardley Dubois.
Yeah, good fight. Good fight. I mean, it's funny. I think Fabio, it's brilliant to see what he's done, and obviously he's now in a position where he can call the shots for loads of money. He's the world heavyweight champion, so I guess he's going to get lots of options presented to him. I like the fight stylistically. I think it's a good fight for Fabio Wardley because I think if you can hang in there against Dubois, you got a very good chance of breaking him down and beating him. And let's be honest, the last time, see, if I was Daniel Dubois, I would be coming back with a fight.
Mm.
But what happens is you make so much money, you don't want to come back with one of those fights because you're not really looking at the long play.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that's a little bit of a poor decision. Like the last time Daniel Dubois fought was September, July? No, June?
July.
No,
Who's sick?
July, right?
Who's sick?
Against Usyk,
Who's sick?
right?
Yeah.
Okay. That was now 8 months ago, coming up 7, 8 months, right? So he's going to be out of the ring. If he fights in May, which is the rumour, he's going to be out of the ring for 10 months after getting knocked out. Daniel Dubois is the kind of guy who, if he has any doubts in himself, if he's not 100% confident, he's much easier to beat than the flip side of that. I just think that Fabio, look, Daniel Dubois hits really hard. Like he can take anybody out early or hurt anybody early. But if you get past 2 or 3, 4 rounds with him and you start making him second guess himself, you're going to break him down real quick. And I think Wardley and Dillian and Joe, those guys will look at that fight, Ben, and say, that's a good fight for us. And, you know, great fight. 2 Brits fighting for the World Heavyweight Championship. I think it would be the fight to make for those guys.
A short kind of.
You're asking me a lot of questions about other things
I
that will
know.
probably get me in trouble because you'll clip it up like Hearn says
No, I won't. I won't.
Dubois is not there physically and mentally. It's like you do.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you don't want ridiculous headlines, don't say ridiculous things. I'm just saying.
I'm not saying ridiculous things, am I? I'm giving you unbelievable first class analysis, but you're asking me about other things and other
Yeah, I
people.
know,
And,
but everyone's interested.
Could you send this through to me actually after the interview so I can approve it first? Thank you.
Shut up.
Imagine I'm going to start doing that as well, like everybody else.
A short kind of stint with Tony Sims has gone back to
Yeah.
Don Charles. Can you give us any light on this? Or
No, I think again, Daniel's someone that has to be comfortable with his surroundings. And look, Tony's gym for me right now, one of the best gyms, not just in the UK, but in the world. And I think it's absolutely firing. I mean, you've got Conor Benn, whose transformation's been incredible. You've got obviously George Liddard, who's one of the best young fighters in Britain right now. Jimmy Sains, Craig Richards, John Ryder's down there training, doing a great job. Johnny Fisher is now in there as well. Like it's a brilliant gym, but I don't know. Like Daniel's just, I think he's someone that, because of the way that he's been brought up, he's all about those home comforts, and maybe he gets more of that feeling with someone that he's been with for a long time, like Don. It's the same old. It's what I know, rather than I need to spread my wings and expand and I know this is. I know Don. I know that gym. I know that those surroundings. I don't know. Again, asking me something that has absolutely nothing to do with me.
okay. Um, so what's going on? Is it Frank Smith and Ben Shalom now? Have you removed yourself out of this now?
Just like it's not something that's even like I don't know. In life, you've got to be challenged, right? And you've got to be fearful of a challenge to take you to another level. So with the Shalom stuff, it's like you can't have any fear of that challenge because it doesn't actually exist. It's not a challenge. So I'm more focused on Dana White and Zuffa, which is a real challenge. And that's what it is. It's Eddie v Dana. You can't look yourself in the mirror and say, oh, it's Eddie v Ben Shaloms. Like, it's just not. But
Shalom, not Shaloms.
Frank against Shalom,
Yeah.
that's a little bit more interesting because I quite like watching it as well. And Frank, Frank, again, Shalom can't lace Frank Smith's boots. Frank Smith's an unbelievable operator, and I do give him a hard time, but he's like on another level of smart, And I've got the mouth, and yes, I'm a storyteller. Yes, I'm a salesman. Yes, I'm 6'4", carved out of stone, might be the next James Bond. But Frank Smith, whilst looking like Adrian Edmondson from Bottom, is also a phenomenal operator. And I'm just happy to watch Frank get. I like to see Frank. I'm not saying that Shalom's is going to put him under pressure, but I just like to see Frank. I want to see him ruffled a little bit, like that was like with the Eubank stuff. I actually saw Frank get quite, emotional and angry and all this kind of stuff. And I saw Frank Smith celebrating like crazy when Josh Kelly won. And I said to him, "You're finally starting to fall in love with boxing." Because the great thing about Frank is his business mind is first class, but he's not really a boxing guy. And he's always like, "I'm not, I don't know anything about boxing. I'm not into boxing." But he is massively into boxing. And to see him jump around and make a prat out of himself like I do every time one of our guys wins, when Josh Kelly won, it was great to see. So yeah, um, I'll let them two bicker out while we take care of the big boys.
One thing I did ask Frank about at that Newcastle show was the situation with TKV and Johnny Fisher. He said that at that point he was going to put in another offer. What happened with that?
Yeah, we made a few offers. It's disappointing. Actually, disappointing a few times with TKV because we wanted to make TKV against Dave Allen initially, which TKV was desperate to do, but Boxer didn't allow him to do that. So then he fought Fraser Clark, understand, mandated, etc. Then we went to TKV. I think they came to us and said, "Do you want to fight Johnny Fisher?" And they were all over the fight, made him a really big offer. He was all in. And actually, Boxer come back and said, "Yes, we'll do the fight on your show." I said, "Okay, great. It's March the 7th." They said, "I will do any date apart from March the 7th." I was like, "What's that all about?" Anyway, I think they wanted to look to do a show. So we couldn't get another venue. Actually, then 2 weeks ago, Copperbox came back and said, March 21st has come available. So we went back to TKV to try and make the Johnny Fisher fight, but they just didn't. They didn't want to let us do it, and I think they were trying to do TKV against Reactpor, but I
Yeah.
don't know what's happened with that. But yeah, spoke to Johnny last night. Actually, it's all right. We'll get our shot, and Johnny's gonna have a couple of weeks break before we line him up for a fight in May.
So he's obviously he's not on that card then, Johnny Fisher, the one that you've just
No,
announced,
no,
which is
Lillard
Lillard
against
and
Denny.
Kenny.
Yeah,
Yeah. But a couple of weeks later, he'll be on a card, yeah?
he will be. Yeah, he'll be out around May time, and he was gutted. He was. I've never seen or heard Johnny so not angry, but he wanted that fight so bad. Like to fight for the British heavyweight title is a dream of his. And he couldn't quite understand. He's like, "Eddie, I'm in. TKV's accepted the fight. Why can't we just get?" I said, "It just doesn't work like that in boxing." I said, "Don't ask me why, but they just won't let us do it. So we just have to bide our time. You will get the fight because you are a draw. You are someone at the moment that people look at and say, 'Oh, we can beat him.' So you will get your chance. So just relax. You're a young man. Keep learning with Tony Sims. And Johnny's a smart guy. Now he's digested that. We're gonna, he will get his shot at the British heavyweight title, no doubt. But I promise when he gets it, he'll be better prepared than he would have been for what would have been March 7th or 21st.
Okay, let's quickly just run through a quick few things. Callum Smith and Morel.
Yeah, I'm trying to bring Callum Smith v Morel to Liverpool. I think it's an unbelievable fight and a big, big fight for British boxing. Just saw Nick Ball, obviously, good crowd up there in Liverpool as well. We haven't been to Liverpool for years, and I want to bring a massive fight and a sellout fight to the arena, and that's Smith v Morel. So, hoping that lands on April. That hopefully will be part of all these big announcements that will come next week as well. But yes, hopefully April, and if we land it in the UK, it will be at the M&S Arena in Liverpool.
That's good news. So I'm assuming you're going to wait and see what happens with Garcia and Barrios for Conor Ben.
Yeah, listen. At the moment, we've been talking to his team, and I was talking to Keith Connolly all day yesterday and last night. Conor now wants to look at his options, not just Ryan Garcia, but what are the options? You know, a fight with Rolly Romero is a fight that I think makes great sense for him for the WBA title. We've also got Gearsoff in that position, so he's got to be happy with whatever happens. You know, Shakur Stevenson is a fight that obviously people were talking about. He was in the ring with him. Josh Kelly up at 154, but that's not really the focus because 147 is the focus. So I like the Rolly Romero fight. I do. You know, what I said to you earlier is Connor's coming off the back of two 70,000 stadium sellouts, two massive paydays. Everybody's calling his name, and it really gets under people's skin that Conor Benny's the star that he is. And, you know, people say, what's he doing in the ring with Artur Beterbiev and Bivol and Usyk and, you know, all these people? And, see what I've done there? And the answer is he was told to get in the ring because he's a star. Yeah, but he hasn't even fought these big fights, these elite guys. Oh, well done. Congratulations. Tough shit. He's making millions and millions and millions. Everybody wants to fight him, and he's a star. So suck on that and get ready for his next fight.
What do you think of MVP and Sky Sports?
The women's card.
Yeah, announced their
Yeah,
show.
good. Yeah, look, good. I think, you know, they've got some fantastic female talent. I think it's good to see boxing back on Sky Sports. Obviously, their first show of the year, their first show since, I don't know, August, something like that, last year. So will be the women's card on April the
Fifth.
6th, 5th.
Fifth.
Yeah, some good fights on it.
You ain't. What's your show
By
for?
the way, did you see Jake Paul's fiance win gold?
Oh, unbelievable it was.
Unbelievable. I actually messaged him because I just thought, wow, that must have been. And by the way, I don't mean to be naive, but I had no idea how, like, if she was a favourite. I don't know. I don't follow speed skating or anything like that. And I was just seeing him breaking down in tears. I thought it was a great moment. So a bit of
Yeah,
a random one,
I
but
wouldn't call
ain't big deal.
myself the speed skating like king.
Well, I don't know, mate. You must have done a few laps down Basildon Rink a few years ago.
Whee!
Yeah,
Uh,
no, it's good.
Errol
Wholesome.
Spence returning.
Yeah, listen, good. I mean, look, you got him, you got Charlo, you got all these guys. I think a lot of those. There's a massive amount of new blood coming in, but Errol Spence, Charlo. I mean, good. Let's get them back if they're physically good to continue and they can still operate at the level they should be operating at. Welcome back.
Right, Wood Warrington next week,
Yeah.
which obviously, are you actually coming to that show?
Of course, I can't wait. Listen, I'm going for the big build up. We don't listen. You're a prat, you are, aren't you? Giving it a bit. If I have a massive fight in the US versus, you know, a big fight but not a massive fight in the UK, I'm going to be in the US. If I have a massive fight in the UK and specifically a smaller fight in the US or no show news, of course I'm going to be there.
All
So
right.
where are we now? Thursday, Wednesday, whatever it is.
You've not
Got
been to your own shows in the UK for like 3 months, right?
well, not true.
What's
Not true. I was at the last show in the UK
No, you
that
weren't.
wasn't Josh Kelly.
No, you weren't.
Which one was it?
That was Vicioli and Joe Alf.
That was in December. I had AJ against Jake Paul.
Just saying.
Okay. Well, listen. Yes, I'm coming because yes, next week is massive. Going to be there all week, and also don't forget we've got the big Matchroom event that will be a lot of news dropping, and then of course that's Wednesday action, Thursday press conference, Friday the weigh-in's going to be 6 p.m. in Nottingham. Right, everybody welcome. Let's get a massive turnout, and it's a massive show. Wood Warrington's going to be an absolute bloodbath fire burner. And obviously, don't forget as well, as we said, Ishmael Davis against Bilal Fawaz. What a fight, British and Commonwealth and IFL World Championship as well. Dave Allen returns to the ring. Sandy Ryan goes for the World Championship. Leo Tang's in action. Molly McCann's on the card. Tia Aiton's on the card. But we got an unbelievable stable of talent right now globally. But our young ones coming through, phenomenal.
Have you got an event outside of Nottingham next week? Like this thing you keep waffling on about, like
Yeah, yeah.
no, but is that during the fight week or is that
Well, it's on fight week because it's next week, but it's in London.
right? What day? I'm just trying to.
I don't know. Could be Tuesday, could be Wednesday. We'll let you know, won't we?
All right, okay. Can I come?
Yes, you can come.
All right. Eddie, last one. Obviously, Fury, Makhmadov. Net
Here we go. Yeah, go on, get me in trouble. Yeah, go on.
on Netflix. Come on.
Yeah,
Um,
great. What do you want me to say?
surprised or not?
No, I think one, great to see Tyson Fury back. Great to see him back. Again, what I said to you, when you do what you love, what makes him feel great is being in training camp and fighting. So you can say, I'm done, I'm gonna just spend 100% of my time with my family and all, which is great. But the reality is you lose what's burning inside you. And what was still burning inside him is the hunger to fight. And more importantly, to train and be in that routine. So he looks on top of the world right now, looks really healthy, looks really happy, and it's great to see. So we wish him all the best. It's great to see him back in boxing. I like the fight. I think he plays with Makhmadov, but it's still dangerous. It's not like just some random bloke you've never heard of. So I think it's a smart opponent, and it'd be interesting to see what he does after that. Obviously we'll see what happens with AJ. Maybe that something for the end of the year or 2027. But great to see Tyson Fury back in boxing, and great to see Netflix. This is what I say about boxing. Boxing's so red hot right now that all these major broadcasters are wanting to come in and dabble. So great times, great times.
Would you say that this is Netflix's first go in this field, if that makes sense?
Well, no, they did Canelo Crawford.
Oh yeah, no.
You've had an absolute
All
stinker,
right,
haven't
okay.
you? Probably best to wrap it up, mate, before you start embarrassing yourself. To be honest with you, but yeah, I'll answer your question.
You
Good to
kind of knew what I meant when I said that.
Yeah, I did, but you forgot about a massive one they did last year. So,
All right,
but
okay.
yeah, I think that the thing is with Netflix, what Netflix want to do, I think, is do 3 to 4 big events a year. Obviously, the one that Netflix want more than anything is AJ against Fury, but obviously that's not happening. So this is great to see Tyson Fury back. It's a great story. It's not a massive fight, and I think in answer to your question, the good thing is that they are doing fights like this outside of the mega fights. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and that's good that they're supporting boxing, and so it doesn't have to just be AJ Fury to get on Netflix or Canelo Crawford. They are doing Fury in a fight that he's a big favourite in. So
That's
it's
what
a,
I
it's
meant.
a
That's what I meant.
okay, yeah, of course you did, yeah. Well, I just got you right out of a hole
No,
there
you did a
because
little bit, but this is in its own category, isn't it? To Canelo Crawford, to
yeah, listen. If I can help you out, I'm here for you.
right. Have you got anything else you'd like to say, Edward, before?
No, I'm off for breakfast with the Turkish sports minister. This is what I do. Let's get the old selling boots on, Istanbul, here we come. And let's get ready for Nottingham next week. And then let's get ready for Nunez Navarrete unification. We're going to have 10,000 in there in Arizona. And let's get ready for all the big announcements next week. Boxing is buzzing. Sweet as a nut. We'll see you in Nottingham.
Eddie Hearn, thank you very much for your time.